Before you play the game, Papers, please watch this video. So before we even get into anything, if you're a streamer, I recommend that you go right here to the settings and turn off nudity. I think it's on by default. You can also choose to change your date format. I turned my music down and my sound is still the same. You can also change your language here if you wish. So just a very quick disclaimer with the video. A little bit later in the video, some of the audio is going to be out of sync with the video. That's just a rendering thing. That's not how it's going to sound when you actually play the game. Just want to clarify that it's not going to be out of sync when you play the game. No, there are a couple of very basic things that I want to explain. Oh, yeah, I've played this game before, obviously. You won't see this, it'll just be like this right here where you see the new button. But if you do, for reference though, if you want to see, this is the month, this is the month, and this is the date, and this is the time of which you last played. 80C means you got 80 credits. We'll get to that later, but just for future reference, that's how you know. Also, up here is all of your endings. So once you start actually unlocking some of the endings, there's 20 if you can count that. Once you start unlocking all of the endings, then that's where you're going to see them light up. But that's not relevant for you right now if you just started playing. I'm just explaining what everything is. So when we go ahead and click New, we're going to get all of this fanfare up front here. Whenever you play the game for yourself, you can kind of read all this stuff, but we're going to kind of skip through it because I'm trying to show you how to play the game. So, you're going to be at this screen right here. This is the primary game, right? There's basically two modes of the game. There's this, and then there's the end of day inspection kind of stuff, right? Every day, you're going to get a bulletin right here. Now, before we start, I want to mention, the time doesn't start until you hit this little horn thing right here and, call in your first entrant. So take as much time as you want before this section. If you want to read this stuff down, if you want to look at stuff, go ahead, right? So let's explain what's going on the screen. These are all the people in the line right here. This is your little guard right here. You'll have more guards as the game progresses. And this is your little bulletin right here. And just go ahead and make sure that you read through all of the rules. Now, of course, whenever you're done, you can kind of put this away, at least for now. Later in the game, you're going to want to have this, but for spoiler reasons, I won't tell you why. But this right here is your audio transcript. So whenever the people talk, you can just pull this out right here, and you can listen to what they say, because it's going to be important for finding discrepancies later on. Right here is your rule book. Ministry of Admission, Rules and Regulations for Inspectors. So you have a couple different pages right here. You can start off with basic rules. Make sure you read the rules. Here you have the regional map. You might want to memorize the locations because it'll help you get to locations faster. But here, we have Oberstan, Kalichia, Arstotzka, all that stuff, right? Then, if you click this little bookmark right here, it'll take you back to the table of contents. Very useful. Make sure you click this to go back to the very beginning whenever you need to. Then you have right here booth info. The booth info is exactly what it says. It explains basically what I mentioned before, but if you want to look at it in the book right here. Oh, I guess I didn't mention the time and date. This is relevant because you want to make sure that passports aren't expired or that whatever you have isn't expired. And if you have upgrades, they'll be right here. Of course, we just started, so there are no upgrades. So over here on the right side, we have the stamp. You have to align, so somebody's going to drop something up right here, right? You have to pick it up and move it and make sure you align it, and then you can either press approved or denied. Oh, and right here we have the weight. That's not going to be relevant for a bit, but at some point you will have to check people's weight, and we'll get to that in a bit. So we're going to go through the first day, kind of speed run through it. Currently the only rule right now is to allow Arstotskins and deny anybody who isn't an Arstotzkin. How do you tell if somebody is Arstotzkin or not? Well, basically you look at the visa, right? Look on the text right here, look for this text. This woman is from Impor, so we're going to deny her. Also, you can tell just by the shape and the design if it's not the Arstotzkin passport, which we can find out right here under regional map Arstotzka. This is what the passport looks like, so anybody who doesn't have a passport that looks like this, at least for the first day, we're just going to deny them. Obviously, it'll get more complicated. Go on. You get citations by allowing people in who have discrepant information and by disallowing people who have correct information. Oh, and you can click through the pages if you want to see all the different things. Like, you can just click through right here at the bottom right. This woman is Arstotzkin, so we allow her in. It doesn't matter if her information is correct. It will always be correct on the very first day. But later on, you're going to have to look at all of this information. You're going to have to look at the name, you're going to have to look at the date of birth, sex, the issuing city, the expiration date, their face, and their ID, which is right here in the bottom left. That's just with the passport, you know. We're not even getting into... Oh, yeah, sorry, I let him in. Whoops. Well, see, this, you know what? Perfect example. No entry from Republia. So, everybody who is not from Arstotzka gets denied. And this is what the citation looks like. You can kind of put it off to the side or whatever. You can, like, shove it in the corner if you want. Shove it down here. Shove it onto here. It's up to you. But those are what the citations look like. Oh, and down here, another thing right here, too. Down here is the number of people that you have gone through, right? So right now we're at 11, and when this person walks in, we're going to be at 12. See that? And this woman is our Stotskin, so we allow her in. Oh, well, we have this right here, this screen. This is end of day 1 screen. Normally there's music, but I turn the music way down. There, you can still hear it, but it's very quiet. So right here you have your class, A class by default. You're gonna... A class means, by the way, that rent costs 20, and you can't change that, and heat costs 10. So you can, right here it says manage your expenses using the checkboxes below. You can select heat and food, and you can turn that off. Word of advice, if everybody is okay, just turn heat and food off. It doesn't matter, right? You're saving money. Your family does not need heat and food every single day. I would say only whenever you get to, like, around the $200 mark is when you're like, okay, I'll just give you heat and food no matter what anyways. But if you're new to this game, which presumably you are if you're watching this video, I would just select heat and food off at all times if everything is okay. Obviously, if they're hungry or if they're sick or if they're cold, then I would recommend putting heat and food because otherwise they could die. Yes, your family can die. Is that a spoiler to mention that? Probably not. But yes, your family can die. And you can die too. Is that also a spoiler? Whatever. 8 class just means that, like I said, rent is 20, heat is 10, food will always be 20. There's no way to change that. So this is the savings. This is what you had before you started. So right now my savings is 65. So 65 plus 30. At the start of the next day, my savings will be 85. All right. Salary. This parentheses or this colon right here is how many people I scanned through, basically, that I didn't get a citation on. The reason why it's 11 is because I got a citation. Although I went through 12 people, one of them was a citation, and thus that doesn't count. If you get a citation, you don't get paid for it. And in fact, if you get too many citations, you'll actually get a credit minus. Like, you'll lose money. Like, it'll be like credit deduction -5 or -10 or whatever, right? Some other things I didn't mention in the original recording. Right here, you have the number of passports for your family. Currently, there's 5. Obviously, the number of passports for your family will become relevant later in the game. I won't tell you why for spoiler reasons, but I mean, it's right there, so it's kind of in your face. Why else would it be there if it wasn't relevant? Over here on the left side, this is how many tokens you have. Currently, we have 0 because we just started, but you get tokens by doing particular actions with particular entrants. I won't tell you how to get them, obviously, for spoiler reasons, but if you want to get them, and you do get them, this is where there will be. There will be 1 from every country. And right here in these little boxes underneath your passports are your office upgrades. So, you know, whenever you get the option to unlock upgrades, which will be like right here, it'll be like $5 for another booth upgrade. Your booth upgrades will be right here, just letting you know what you have and how many you have. So, let's go right into the next day. So now, this is where things get interesting and you actually have to pay attention. I'm not going to go through all the days, obviously, but I just want to kind of explain this game to you. So again, we can take as much time as we want. Don't click this alarm until you read everything. It's not that much to read, generally speaking. But right here, you can read this. Today, foreigners with a valid passport are permitted to enter. So that's all you need to know is make sure that they have a valid passport. And it says right here, check all passport information carefully for discrepancies. So that would be like if it's expired or if their sex says female, but they're actually male. Stuff like that, right? Oh yeah, so right here, you go down to this little red exclamation mark right here, and this enters discrepancy mode, or inspect mode. That's what it's called, is inspect mode. And you can highlight 2 things. Obviously, I don't have a passport yet, but you can highlight 2 things and show how it is discrepant. Important note is that you can do this with the rulebook. So for example, if an entrant doesn't have a passport, then just open your rulebook. I recommend having your rulebook open at all times and just leave it down to the bottom. Makes your life a lot easier. But you click this button right here, and then you select the rule, and then you select the person, or not the person, but the desk, or the person, depending on the stuff, right? So if they don't have a passport, then you just select this, and then it'll be like discrepancy located or whatever, right? In the original recording, I forgot to show an example of the audio transcript thing. Like I said, I'm just gonna leave it here, and then I'm gonna, I don't know, allow this person, I guess. And you can see right here, cause no trouble, because that's what the person is. This is expired, so deny. And they say nothing. But if they were to say something, it would be right here. It's probably a bad day to show this as an example, because they're not talking. You don't look like that, so deny. They're not saying anything. This is a terrible example. Hurry up. There you go. See, they said, hurry up, I'm meeting bus soon. So, yeah, you can just pull that out. And again, later on in the game, you're going to have to pull this out, and you're going to have to highlight the specific lines of text to make sure that what they say is accurate. So, for example, if they say, like, I'm going to be staying for 6 months, and they say that, but their whatever they have says not 6 months, then you're going to have to highlight that, and you're going to have to highlight the thing. So I just wanted to mention that first because I didn't know that for a while, so now you do know. Let's open up the passport. So this is not fake right here. This is Enkyo. You see this? I highlighted two potential pieces of matching information, and it says matching data. Another piece of information, expiration date. I can select this and select this. And as you can see here, matching data, and that is because it is not expired. I can select a male and the person's face, and it is matching data because the person looks male. And there's nothing else really to look at, so I'm going to assume this guy is good. Again, you will have more and more and more information that you'll have to keep track of, but, you know, to kind of start you off, you go, okay, is this expired? Discrepancy detected. Now this little option right here will pop up, and you can say interrogate. Your character will talk, and it says right here, you cannot enter using an expired document, and you can deny them. Oh, like this right here, Skal, right? I know for a fact that this isn't Skal, because that is for Oberstan, and this password is from Integria. So, of course, I could highlight this and this. Well, I guess it wouldn't be that. It would be for the Integrian passport. So, I could highlight this and this, and I could interrogate the person, but I don't actually need to, because the person doesn't need to know why the discrepant information was found. As soon as you know that it's discrepant, you can just deny them and you won't get penalized, at least so far. Later in the game, you have like this little reason tab that you have to click, but that's later in the game. You don't have to worry about that for a while. Now, what I did, and I recommend everybody else do this, is that you go through, make sure you do it before you click the alarm, like when the day just started. You go through this entire document, and you write down on a piece of paper every single issuing city, and even all the districts, and what the icon looks like. I recommend that, and you have that as a piece of paper that you can reference later, because that'll significantly speed up your gameplay. It saves you a lot of time if you just write it down and you have it as a reference. You can hear my piece of paper. So, oh, yeah, and another thing, by the way, make sure that their face looks right. So, right here, discrepancy detected. So you can deny them just like that. Now, of course, you can interrogate them if you want to, but I don't need to. But I will do it just for the purposes of gameplay, I guess. Interrogate. Your picture, it is different. I do not know what to say. It is me. So, you deny them. Just like that. Alright, that is how you play Papers, Please. Very, very basics. Obviously, like I said, make sure you read the bulletin. The rules change constantly. Make sure you open your rule book and go to basic rules. The rules change constantly. Another thing I forgot to mention that's also pretty important is that you can leave whenever you want. Just press escape, go to main menu, and it'll reset the day, right? So just go to story and then select whatever it was. For me, this is what it would look like. And just select it, right? And then it'll take you back to the very beginning of the day. So, for example, if you make a lot of mistakes and you're like, damn it, I don't want to do this, you don't have to Alt F4, you don't have to quit. It only saves your progress at the beginning of the day. So, if you want to, you know, go back and save somebody or deny somebody or let somebody in that you previously didn't, you don't have to exit or quit your game or Alt F4. You can just hit main menu and it's that easy. Hope you guys enjoyed the game and hope you guys enjoyed the video. Take care, peace, bye-bye.